This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, this is Bill O'Brien subbing for Paul Aurelia, who's out of town, calling to order the May 2nd, 2024 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee. Can I get a approval of the minutes for April 4th, 2024?
This is Rick Marcone. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll make a motion a second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And passes unanimously. Thank you.
Go.
Okay, Chad, I guess you're up to bat.
Sure. I mean, this is a very busy time for the Parks Division, with everything going on in sports and high school sports and youth sports, which Andre is probably going to be talking about, all the recreational sports that we host and prepare for and line and all of that stuff. So we're just, we're busy daily. The golf course, even with the inconsistent weather, the rounds have been really good. The sales have been very good, which is surprising. So when it's been good days, people are coming out. When it's not so good days, they still have been coming out. So, which is great.
How's the condition, Chad?
Condition is phenomenal. They look great. Greens are looking great. We're ahead of our agronomic program, or right on schedule. So we have some things coming up that we're going to be prepared for, some top dressing and some other light stuff. But I can't be happier with how good it is at this moment.
Yeah, Chad, my son and I played this afternoon. Actually, was pretty nice.
Yeah, it is very good. I'm happy. Like I said, I'm happy at the standpoint. I'm happy where we are. I'm happy the movement that we're going this season, even with tremendous amounts of rain and all of that stuff. It's been doing good. As the sun starts coming in, it's going to get even better and better. Our overall grass mowing, grass is growing out of the ground. It's the happiest it is right now. So, our crews, we're trying to do the best we can to keep everybody mowing, to keep mowers going during this high demand period. And it's like all hands on deck trying to get through that. I have the George Forest project's going very well. The tennis court and handball courts down there. I do have a slight change order that I need to present to you guys for a favorable recommendation to send to town council. So originally, when we were looking at these courts, New York City courts and stuff like that were all just gray, just concrete. We talked with the pickleball association, with the handball association guys in town, and they requested that the bottom courts, the walls stay a concrete color, but the bottom change to a beige or a tan, so it makes the ball more visible. So with that wasn't part of the original scope, so that's what the extra $16,050 is requested in change order, is the painting of the floor by their request. So if you guys want to do that now, or whatever you want to do.
We might as well if somebody wants to make that motion.
How long ago was this contract done, Chad?
The contract was done a long time ago, but they just started working about 2 weeks ago.
But it's not, my only concern is it's not something that would have been on someone else's bid to paint.
No, it wasn't
added on now.
No, it wasn't part of a contract. So when we did the spec and the details of the project, it wasn't included. So we're adding it to the original contract as an addendum or as a change order. The basketball courts were being painted. That was part of the contract, but just not the handball courts.
Well, Bill, I'll make a motion to approve the request for the change order in the amount of $16,050 to paint the George Forest handball court a beige/tan color.
And send to the town council with a favorable
recommendation.
And send it to the town council for favorable recommendation.
You have a second?
I'll second that. This is Rick Marcone.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thanks, everybody. Passed unanimously.
Yeah, and then I just have one more. So we were looking at flood tennis courts now with the addition of Longbrook. Those ones are under construction right now too. So as those get built, we were kind of looking, and Renee had a great idea of changing 2 of the tennis courts up at Flood to 6 dedicated pickleball courts. So I wanted to kind of get your guys talk about this, see if the parks is in favor of this. Before I didn't get any prices or quotes or anything like that. I talked with Hinding. It can be done because it is already an existing concrete, post-tension concrete surface. We are due for painting. It is starting to crack here or there. So in lieu of painting, tennis courts, we could remove 2 of the tennis courts, put in 6 dedicated pickleball courts, still have 2 functioning tennis courts, but 6 pickleball courts. Does anybody, we don't really have dedicated pickleball courts, and what we're finding, even Tom called me up when he went to go look at Flood and, start to look at the project when he was in town on George Forest. He said, your tennis posts are bowed in. And I said, yes, I know exactly why, because pickleball height is a little bit lower than a tennis height. So anybody that goes up there starts hanging on the net and not lowering the net and raising the net the way that you should be doing. So they start hanging on the net to create that crease, and now our posts are a little bit bowed, and that has to be part of a resetting process when we go to repaint them. We've repainted Clover basketball court because that was our second project. We repainted Benell about a year or 2 ago because that was our first project about 10 years ago. So these post-tension concrete courts need to be repainted every 7 to 10 years or thereabouts. And that's really the only maintenance that we have on them. But we were proposing or looking into changing them. So does anybody have any thoughts or agree or disagree, or, we're not losing
Yeah,
any.
Chad, do we have,
I'm sorry?
yeah, are there any pickleball courts currently south of Worcester?
Short Beach.
Not dedicated, no.
Okay. Yeah, I think that adding them at Flood does make sense. But I also think that it should be considered, for all the residents that are in the south end, the south side of the town, that we've done other things have happened in town that don't give good accessibility to the whole town, especially those that have auto transportation. Putting something way up there in the north end helps people that are in the north end or that have ability to get to the north end easily.
Well,
So I do think it's a good idea, but I also think that consideration should be given to the south side.
this is Drew. Sorry, I just have a quick question, Chad. I thought when we were looking at the park that's going to go in where they're doing the remediation on, I think it's Ferry Boulevard. I don't know if that's still happening, but there were a bunch of pickleball courts that were going to be included in that plan, correct?
Correct. You are correct. Yeah, but unfortunately that's just down the road in 2027, I believe, either
Oh, it's
2026
that late.
or
Okay, I
yeah.
didn't realize
So
the schedule.
by
I'm
the
sorry.
time the scope of the project happens and
Yep.
by the time we could put it on there, it'll either be 2026, it might even be 2026, but I think it's a year and a half to 2
Okay.
years out. So
Sorry about that.
no, that's not, but it's very fair. I mean, there will be dedicated pickleball courts there. There will be, a turf field there, and stuff like that. But, we don't, we were trying to think of the best way. I mean, or, if we keep Flood, both tennis courts and all that stuff, you could always add pickleball courts, dedicated pickleball courts down at Short Beach. But we're already fighting massive wind complaints at Short Beach. We've put up windscreens and it still isn't an ideal situation. But, a lot of these places, when they have the pickleball courts, when they try and put them in residential areas, you have a lot of the residents complaining from the noise and all of that stuff. So we're lucky that Worcester is not really in a residential area. Flood is not really in a residential area. Yes, it is in the north section of town, but it's an ideal place for pickleball court. And, without spending any money, there's lights up there. So it extends the pickleball time, up there. So, it's just something Tim, I agree with you. We should look down south to see where we could put them. But as of right now, no real property is jumping at the opportunity unless we build something new.
Yeah, Chad, this is Bill. I really like the idea, especially with the addition of the Longbrook tennis courts, and there seems to be a lot more pickleball being played than tennis these days.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that too. This is Catherine. I mean, I'm at Worcester, gosh, 4 times a week now, and that court is always used. When I was up at Flood, that court, in the springtime is always used too by pickleballers. So I think it just made logistical sense, to make it the right type of court for pickleball instead of keep fighting, the net issues.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other solutions that pickleball, well, that people are doing is instead of going pickleball across the tennis net, is to do it uh, perpendicular to the tennis net, and then people would have to bring a temporary net. So that's something that we could do too if we really want to keep tennis nets, or if there's these tennis area projects where we could add pickleball lines. We could just put the court lines, and then people would have to bring a temporary net like they do at Baldwin, or like you do at Birdseye Gym, or something like that.
This is Catherine once again. I just think, and I said this the last time, and Amy did have some good, problem solving solutions to that. I just think it adds a barrier if you do that. If we're not concerned with tennis courts so much and would like to add pickleball courts, I think you just add them correctly instead of having, another barrier of somebody having to bring a net or having to have a lock code or store them away or set them up or whatnot. So just my two
True.
cents.
Yeah, no, very true. Very real problems when you talk about this kind of stuff. Yes.
Yeah, I think it'd be, I don't know, I think overall there's a favorable feeling about to discuss further with Renee.
Okay. I mean, I'll tell her that, you guys are interested, and I'll see where she wants me to take it. Because I do have to get the quote paint for the painting quotes anyway. So we could talk to Tom and just get a quote with alternates on how much would be to change everything over.
Yeah, it's the right time to do it with the painting having to be done.
Exactly. Yep. So, I mean, with that being said, I don't really have anything else. I mean, if anybody has any questions on anything specifically, we're gearing up for, Stratford Day is right around the corner on June 3rd. Booth opening day is right around the corner, May 16th.
19th.
Yeah, May 19th. So, we have all of our stuff. Flowers are going to be going in. We have a bunch of different stuff coming up in the pipeline this month.
Yeah, I heard something today, Chad, at a museum committee meeting in August. I think it's August 7th is going to be the 125th anniversary of the trolley crash at Peck's Mill Pond. Has they
Yes.
reached out to you about doing some kind of cleanup over there?
Yes. That's on our plate too. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get a definitive schedule of where they want to hold their, stuff, but
Yeah.
we're going through the trail system. We're going into areas, and we're trying to, clean up the best that we can, in preparation for it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Mhm.
Anybody have anything else for Chad?
Yeah, this is Catherine, and I emailed Chad, but I just want to let everybody here know that the Parks Department and Chad and his group of guys have been, top notch right now, trying to meet all of our needs for Starling Athletics. We had over 700 families for opening day of soccer at Worcester Field, and it just looked great. They put extra garbage cans down, the fields were lined, everything looked great. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Chad and his crew for that. We've been fighting water issues up at Flood to get things lined, but I mean that was springs. But he worked with me this week to try to get lacrosse there. So I just want to, in this committee because he gets emails weekly from a lot of us, and he was doing his best to try to meet all our needs.
Thank you. Thank you, Catherine. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I can second that because over all the years dealing with Chad, He's always been very responsive of anything I've brought to his attention.
Thank you. And on a quick little side note, I passed my certified playground safety inspector exam again. So every 3 years you have to renew it. So now I'm good until 2027.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, Chad.
Thank you. So no, we're good. Catherine, we'll be talking because we're going to be having some training on some new painting equipment this coming Tuesday, which I'm hope is going to make a lot easier of our stuff and give us opportunities to kind of stop painting fields when they're not being used, the ability to put the fields in quickly or quicker after, a lull rather than painting and wasting resources. So we're excited we have this stuff. So probably next meeting, I'll be able to give a rundown on that piece of machine and how it's working.
Thanks.
Hey, Chad,
Yeah.
this is Gary. Is there any way when they're, because I noticed at Flood, your guys keep putting the lacrosse fields the same exact spot year after year. So we're starting to see there's a big ruts in front of the goals now.
Yep.
Is there any way that they can turn them or something? I mean, it should be big enough now without that baseball field there, isn't it?
Yes, yes, we could. As you go towards the baseball field, you do run into some drainage issues here and there. But with this GPS controlled tiny robot machine that we're starting to use on Tuesday, we could change fields very quickly compared to the old
Okay.
school Pythagorean theorem measuring, going by
Right.
base anchors, so yes, in the future that we could change a field by 14 degrees. We could change the orientation. We could change the location very, very easily.
Yeah.
So yes,
So I
this
think
is,
yeah. So it sounds like that's a machine that'll actually help save the fields then.
yeah, it'll help save the fields. It'll help save labor. It'll help save resources.
Right.
I'll be able to give a full rundown next month on what it's, how it's helping us and all of that stuff once we go through the training and start putting it into service. Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, Chad. Your
Yeah.
assistant doesn't have anything to add?
No, she's gone.
Okay, I guess we have Andre pinch hitting for Amy tonight.
Yep, Andre Brown from the Rec Department. Um, this is the start of our busy period now. Well, our summer camp preparation is underway. Our registration started Monday, April 1st. We've had 7 locations throughout Stratford. 5 of them sold out on the first day. We have 110 kids for each camp. Lombrook Park, which is our most popular location for our playground camps, that sold out in 6 minutes. Registration opened at 8 in the morning. That was sold out by 8:06. We have a wait list of 60 kids on the Lombrook location. Short Beach, we have over 30, I think. So there's a pretty big demand for our summer camps. We have 160 kids total that's on our wait list to get into one of those playgrounds. The only camp that's not maxed out right now is Johnson House. The other 4 locations for playground camps is maxed out, and then we have a teen camp that's also not maxed out at Birdseye. Altogether, we've had more than 1,000 registrations on the first day for various camps, our sports camps, our arts camps, our theater camps, our preschool camps, all of that stuff that we had for that first day. We had a ton of registrations for that. Those programs that we are running, the sports camps and the art camps and the preschool camps are still open. We're going to open up to out of towners soon. Other than that, everything is kind of going smooth with our preparation for our summer camps. Right now, we're in the middle of our spring programs. We are doing our spring program session 2 right now. We have adult programs and youth programming running right now outdoors. We have our soccer programs, our track and field programs, our football programs. We do have a program at Short Beach, which utilizing the Gaga pit that's been built over there. We have our basketball programs that we're running, archery, open gym. For the adults, we have a yoga program. We also have our softball league and our volleyball league that's going to be starting soon. Our indoor pickleball ended, but you can reserve outdoors through us. Pickleball is always the big thing right now. Um, our co-ed softball league, we're not running that this year, surprisingly. Nobody signed up. Um, our men's softball league is still running. It's still popular, but a lot of our captains haven't paid yet, so that's in danger of running as well, which is a little strange because usually our softball is pretty popular, both co-ed and the men's, which is it's a little unusual. Um, Other than that, we also have our swim lessons that we are also running. We have added lessons on Sundays. We now offer Saturdays and Sundays at El Grasso. Our next session starts May 11th and May 12th. We have private lessons, which are very successful. We will expand for the spring and the summer. Our summer lessons will be Monday and Wednesday at Flood and Tuesday and Thursday at El Grasso. So we'll be utilizing both locations. And like I said earlier, we have our pickleball and our paddle tennis reservations. I said earlier, our indoor pickleball has ended at Birdseye, but our outdoor pickleball reservations continue online on our main website. Moving on to the employee side, we did have a job fair at Bunnell and Stratford High School because most of our staff is high school. We've interviewed over 110 students at the schools combined. Hiring and pre-screening is underway right now at Human Resources. We have over 120 returning employees this summer, which is a very big number. For the total amount of employees that we have this summer is 235 employees, which is it's a lot interviewing and rehiring and bringing people back. But they keep coming back, which is a good thing. We're no longer accepting applications for the summer. We're all set. One other thing that I would like to bring up, I know we kind of talked about it earlier before the meeting started, but it's the Ed Sulik tree dedication. I do know that it was planted at Paradise Green and that a plaque needs to be created for him. Amy said that she's just looking for someone to write a description or write something with good vocabulary for Ed, considering that he did so much for us. She said she'll pay whatever costs. It doesn't matter. But that's what she's looking for right now. She'd like to put a plaque there with decent writing, good writing for him. So if any suggestions, anything like that, if you could contact her. She is away, but she'll be back next Monday, and she's all for that. Some major events that are coming up within the next few weeks. We do have our 5K race, Little Pub. This is use of property major upcoming events. So the Little Pub 5K race, May 5th. We also have Bikes and Bear, two roads, parking and ride throughout town. That's May 11th. We have our waterfront permission tag sale at the Birdseye Boat Ramp, which is May 18th. You also have Two Roads Flavor Town Release Party parking in the town lots. That's May 18th. The Fishing Derby at Longbrook Park, which I used to do. I used to really like. That's May 19th. And the biggest thing is we will start our sticker checking on May 24th at both beaches, Long Beach and Short Beach. That will start that Friday, Memorial Day weekend.
Hey, Andre, how are you fixed for lifeguards? I know that's always an issue.
Lifeguards, we are doing pretty good. We do have a large amount, a lot of returners. A lot of those returners that I did mention earlier are lifeguards. We were in the past, we did have issues retaining lifeguards, having lifeguards come back, but it seems like it's very popular with our water our head guards and our supervisors that are running that. It seems to be very popular, and they continue to they lifeguard throughout and they come back during the summer.
And how about Catherine? How are you doing at Sterling House for lifeguards?
We are behind the eight ball, and we have not posted yet for lifeguards. So, Andre, if any of your
Yes.
people like extra hours, they could come over to Sterling House on Saturday mornings.
I'll keep a note of that.
Thanks.
Andre,
Also, go ahead.
this is Tim Sepatelli. First of all, I am right on Worcester Field right now in the middle of soccer practices, and the fields are beautiful. So thanks for everyone working on those. Second, you mentioned the little pub run this Sunday. Um,
Yep.
I know that there's been about 5 or so runs since Halloween, and I don't know exactly the role of any departments in that, but those have been really successful, small little events with Marty Chavone and Little Pub especially. So if you know, I'm sure that I know it's coordination with the town in those events. They've been really great. We'll be at the one on Sunday again, so those have been really cool, new holiday events, races for the community. So it's been really exciting to see. The third thing was just, is there any comment about Short Beach as far as I know it's kind of a police issue, but also I'm sure Parks and Rec issue about security, safety for kids, family property with this spring season ramping up and the recent issues that were at the beach with teens everywhere.
Yeah, we've had discussions too, especially regarding with like our staff in general, because our staff at the beach, they're not only just checking stickers, but they're also charging people and charging individuals. So they're dealing with money. They're putting money in safes. So we've had discussions about this. There's nothing concrete in regards to that. Usually our policy, when it comes to safety issues or danger issues, we do have our numbers that we do have to call. We do call the police. We do have policies put in place to keep the staff safe. In regards to the public, I can't offer too much about that. But I have noticed, and I did hear about the big incident a few weeks ago, and it definitely is a concern for us as well, because our camps are there, staff is there, our leagues are there. And it's important for everybody to feel safe at the beaches. So I definitely understand your concern as well.
And I think I had heard it was mostly out of towners, out of town teens that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would imagine once it does get to beach checking, sticker checking season, that it is much easier to control. But just don't know when those things might pop up. So thank you.
And you were talking about the race. I want to mention, I don't know how many people know about the ultra marathons that Lou Loban runs at Roosevelt Forest 6 times a year. And his next one, I think, is June. I believe it's like a 30-hour run. But he draws runners from all over the country and even out of country. He's had runners from Canada and United Kingdom. So it's quite a thing that draws people to town. And then, Andre, when you talked about how quickly they signed up for these things, and even Sterling House, to sign up for the day camp there. Every so often I hear residents complain, "Oh, how do you find out about anything going on in town?" Well, obviously you guys get the word out, because if they're signing up that quickly, you're doing something right.
Yeah. And we also, we post a lot
Hey,
of line, and we try to reach the schools and the parents, and word travels fast, not just with us, but YMCA, Sterling House, other programs and stuff. So word
And
does get out.
You and Aileen probably get on the phone and call everybody to remind them.
No, but they do use social media.
Yeah, it works.
hey, Andre, if
Yes.
these camps are selling out so far, I mean, I've worked in summer camps off and on forever. Is it possible time that we need to look and maybe put those prices up a little higher?
Um, you know, we've also had discussions about that, and also increasing the amount of camps. I know that in the past, before my time, we used to have more playground camps throughout Stratford. It was way more than just five. I know multiple locations like Clover. I know Chapel was a location. All these other schools were locations. It's something we've looked into. We've also looked into raising the amount of people that can sign up, because right now the max for each camp is 110 kids, and again, that sells out. Like Lombrook, that sells out in 6 minutes, but then you start running out of space to put all of the kids, and then we get into the issue of how many staff can we have, how many staff can we hire, and stuff of that nature.
And I think, was it about a year or two ago, we did raise the fees somewhat, Aileen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We did.
And of course, you're dealing with the increased hourly wages too that you have to pay.
Yeah.
There's not a camp out there, and I've dealt with thousands of camps. There's not a camp out there that does not raise their prices every single year.
That's true.
Yeah,
Mm.
you have to just remain
I'm.
competitive.
I actually would be caution price increases because given that well all over the place these days there's price increases and we don't want to create a problem by attempting to solve a problem. You know what I mean?
No, I
Yeah,
mean, Prez, I get it. I don't think you raise it a lot. Just raise it a little bit. I mean, again, minimum wage just went up, but another dollar an hour, right?
$1.69. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, if they're selling out that fast, people are going to still come.
I think there's
Yeah.
just I think there's just childcare questions, issues, problems, period. I mean, there's more working parents or double parent households that have to work, especially now in the summertime, that they may have been in the past. So we're finding, even at Sterling House, our preschool or after school or camp, there's just a higher demand for that childcare than they may have been in the past.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see how often a comparative analysis is being done. Is it being done annually or biannually, or how often, to see what the competition is, and what what families can pay, and what the capacity is to expand? Because I agree with Prez. I don't think that I think that you should be a constant annual increase, but it also should be remaining at that level that it's accessible to everybody.
Yep.
Now, along the
Hey,
same lines, Chad and Andre, I just read today in Westport, they voted to start charging fees, like I think $25 per player for various youth sports and all kinds of new fees to help with the field maintenance. Did you read about that at all, Chad?
That's nothing new. Amy, myself, and Andre have probably been researching that for years.
Yeah.
Fairfield does it. Trumbull does it. There's a bunch of municipalities that just do a per player or a per athletic. I don't know how they do it. Andre would probably know, or Amy would probably know more than me. But yes, I mean it's definitely looked into, but hasn't really crossed the plate here.
I think we even talked about it on Parks and Rec years ago and just decided it wasn't the thing we wanted to do.
Yeah, we did. Milford, anybody who uses a turf has a turf fee. Anybody that uses a baseball has a baseball field fee, which does. I mean, like everything else, the costs and the resources and everything is escalating out of control, and it just helps. But yep,
And we do charge more for out of town use, right?
correct, we do.
Yeah.
But having out of towners use our fields and not town residents use our fields, yes, we're getting paid for it and all of that stuff, but it's still extra usage on our fields, which, our town should, our residents should be using it, our
Yeah.
communities.
hey, in relation to that, Andre, am I correct that the Bridgeport softball organization uses Birdseye to run their softball leagues? Is that correct?
Um, you're saying that Bridgeport uses our fields. You would have to ask Amy the exact details about that. we, like Chad said, we want mostly Stratford residents using our fields. I mean, obviously there's changes here and there in regards to that, but we primarily do Stratford residents, Stratford programs, Stratford youth leagues. They get their priority. They get their first choice. And then after that, then we work with other people. But it's always Stratford first.
Right. I asked because I actually observed a team there at Birdseye that was practicing, and I asked, okay, what league was it? And they told me it was the Bridgeport Softball League, in which they played there, and I was surprised. And then when, as you presented, where you said that we don't have the enrollment for our co-ed, and we're in danger of our men's league not functioning, so that was a glaring observation for me. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, with our men's league and our co-eds league, the reason why we didn't really get signups for our co-eds is more because of us kind of cracking down on some things. Like you mentioned, like we've mentioned that we want Stratford residents using our fields, and a lot of the people in that league, the co-ed leagues, were Bridgeport residents, and they were, there was just a lot of issues with the co-ed league. So we kind of, put our foot down. We kind of, implemented some new rules and new policies, and all of a sudden, people started dropping out. There was just a lot of issues with, drinking, a lot of issues with things that we just don't want associated with Stratford Parks, and it was just happening too much. And once we put our foot down, people just started to drop out more. And then once it got to that point, we don't have people signing up for the co-ed league anymore. It would be something that we would have to build back up, but it would, we would want the right people signing up anyway.
Good insight. Thanks for that. And also, I wanted to ask, I believe you mentioned upcoming volleyball. Currently, you have the co-ed volleyball at Flood, but I
Right.
believe you're speaking on beach volleyball. Is that
Yes.
correct coming up? And
Yes.
where will that be?
That will be at Short Beach.
Okay. When is that starting? Do you know? Are you aware?
It's gonna start. I believe it's gonna be early June, late May. We're still making the schedule right now. We haven't put it. I don't think we've made a concrete start date yet. Um, I would have to talk with Amy because we're still kind of working with the spring league right now. We're still waiting for playoffs for that to start. Usually we like that the summer league to start after the spring league starts. We don't want them running at the same time, obviously, because a lot of them play in both leagues. So right now we're kind of just waiting on that.
Good deal. Thank you.
Hey, Andre, one more thing about the men's softball
Sure.
teams. Do they get scheduled practice time, or are they just on their own to find space?
They're just on their own. That we only just do games.
Okay, thanks. All right. If there's nothing more, we'll go on to continuing items. And Longbook Park, I took a ride by the other day, and there's movement. It's happening. Any estimate, Chad, on when they'll be done?
No, I'm not sure. I don't really know the timelines there. I'm not really associated with it, but seeing that the surface is poured, once you let the concrete settle and compact, then I'm sure the fencing will be up. I'm sure everything will be going. And then they can't paint like with George Force. You can't really paint the courts until when it gets overnight temperatures are warmer. So
Right.
I would
Yeah.
say the next month or so.
And I see the light poles are in. I can't remember. Did they decide to go with the lights now, or that's for future use?
Again, I don't really know, but I think if the light poles are up, I think they went with them now.
That would be good.
Yep.
And the Morgan Francis property, we did talk about that earlier, and like Chad said, that's a couple years down the road. But time flies; it'll be here before you know it. All right, going on to new business. We already took care of the change order. So we talked some more about the plaque for the Ed Sulik tree. I guess two things to keep in mind: that it'd be something that's secure and something that they, when they do maintenance, it'll be easily maintained. You know,
Yeah,
Aileen and Michael had some thoughts.
Bill, Amy and I had talked about it. We would do something similar to like what we did for Jay Wahlberg, a plaque similar to that. She was just looking for something to put on the plaque, and then once we have the dedication verbiage, then we could go find a plaque, something that's, good, durable, not in the way, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And I
Sometimes
think,
what sometimes what some places will do also is they won't necessarily dedicate a tree to a one particular individual, but put a plaque somewhere, say in town hall, with someone's name on it and saying a memorial tree was planted in town for so and so. It just, for me, just the concern of that, planting a tree somewhere and knowing it's dedicated to someone, um, the risk of something happening to that tree and what happens after that happens, whether it be storm damage, what have you. Does the town replace that tree? Is the tree there for its life? Anyone know how that works?
Yeah, Mike, our tree wardens follow the trees. I think that was planted last year already. So Kelly's looking at it this year and all of that stuff to make sure that it's going. And if it doesn't season well, then it is replaced. Otherwise, through the grower who we bought it from or whatever. So once it gets established, it's just stayed. And these locations are chosen through her, that there's, sustainability for the trees that they choose, for the variety that they choose, so that it doesn't, unless it fails or disease in the future that we can't really call, you're giving it the best opportunity to grow and be there for a long time.
Yeah, it would be of my opinion that every effort should be made to plant as many native trees in town as possible, and instead of so many of these hybrids and Bradford pears and lindens and things like that that just don't hold up.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. We don't do those. The people who choose the Bradford pears and all of those trees are all contractors. We don't choose those trees. So yeah, she's very well versed. She's a big proponent for native trees and species, and she'll pick a tree in a location that will thrive. So as long as we don't have a problem coming from the grower, like an oddball tree that just didn't make it, that the grower would replace, then we just leave it.
That's good to hear.
so it sounds like, Chad, you and Amy are on top of it as far as choosing the appropriate plaque.
Yeah, it's just Amy was looking for, whoever knew him very well or somebody to come up with the dedication. Because she knows him as an employee. I know him because he ran softball, but I don't really know him for all the years or what he did for the town. So if somebody could help out and just give some suggestions, then we can move from there.
Well, Aileen, I think you have a good sense of what we want to write, don't you?
Yeah, the writing's not a problem for me. My question was getting you guys' input, and especially Chad's, on what type of, do you want do you want the rock? Do you want a solid plaque? Do you want something that goes around a tree? Do you want like on a stake short to the ground? Do you want like what I continually call like a flagpole holder that's maybe 3 feet above the ground with the plaque attached to that? What works best for you, Chad?
So what we did with Jay's tree is basically it's like a 45-degree flat plaque that sits as, compact to the ground as possible. So then we put it in the tree, like in the chips of the tree or something like that as part of the presentation. So I could take a picture and I could talk with Amy and show you Jay Wahlberg's, and that works very well. We
Okay.
don't, so this way here, it's not raised, it doesn't get hit, it doesn't become, a target for a child. It's very low and compact. And then somebody walking up to the tree will see it immediately.
And easy for you guys to maintain.
And easy for us to maintain. Yes. Yep.
Okay, so then I put forth, just to start the discussion, what do you guys think if we put, there's different types of plaques that could look, and one has like a picture of a tree, a symbol on it. I think that was from Etsy. In loving memory of Edward A. Sulik, August 15th. I forget the date of his birth. I think 52 maybe, to
26.
December 27, 2022. Just to start the discussion for you guys. Paul, Bill, Rick, anyone? Okay.
Yeah, and I was Tim. I just say a single sentence about what his contribution to the town of athletics, parks and recreation. A simple sentence like that would be great. I mean, I knew him as someone who hired me in my first job at 15 or 14. So that I certainly that can resonate with me and many others. His different roles that he had for the town. So I would just simple sentence that encapsulates his contribution to the town.
And he was born in 1946, Aileen.
Thank you. I knew he graduated. He was in the first graduating class in 64, and I was trying to do like 64
Yeah.
minus 17. Thank you.
And he's also an Army veteran who served in Vietnam, so maybe even a
Yes,
flag on the
sir.
plaque. All right, so I think we're on the right track here.
Thank you.
All right, next is the Donald S. Samus Park. I don't know. Did they bring this to us? Did they want us to send the? Because I think this is a council decision. Is it the whole
Yeah,
naming of parks was a big thing that we talked about over the years.
right. So they want you guys, to discuss, and if you see fit, make a recommendation to the town, do a favorable recommendation to the town council, and they will add it to their agenda, which is not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday.
Right.
Bill, this is Rick Marcone. Wasn't there quite a process for naming parks in town now or whatever? I remember it's come up in the past.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
There is.
I mean, the gentleman is certainly well deserving of recognition looking at his past.
Right.
I have it here, Rick, and I could send it to you guys. It's in chapter 27 of the town code, recognition of individuals, how the whole process is. But basically, you would make the after like a group decides the process. Section 27.5 is recommendation to the town council. So if you guys were to, if you were to decide, yes, I think this park should be named yada yada yada, then they recommend it to the town council, and then they have 90 days. The town council has 90 days to act with your recommendation if you decide to do that. And then let's see, if the committee does not act upon the request shall be forwarded to the town council with no recommendation. So
Well, based on all the information presented to us, I don't have a problem with it, but I'd like to hear
Nor,
other people's
nor,
thoughts.
nor do I, Bill.
I have no problem with it either, Gary. This is Gary.
I don't have a problem either.
No, if you want to forward it on, that's good.
The favorable recommendation.
Yeah. Well, hearing no objections, I'd make a recommendation to forward it with favorable recommendation to the town council about naming this park for Donald
Sounds
S.
okay,
Samus.
all right, did someone second that?
I will. It's Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, vote aye, please.
I
I
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? And thank you all, passes unanimously. So our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 6th at 5:30 p.m. And
If there's no other discussion, I'd certainly make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll
I'll
second.
second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Very good meeting all. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at